Hi everyone, and welcome to this development deep dive on Little Devil Inside. This is my very first video in this format, and I hope you will enjoy it. Let me know if you have any feedback, or if you want to hear me talk about another game that would be interesting to talk about regarding the development. Let's begin. Little Devil Inside was a game that suddenly caught the eye of most gamers in 2020, when the artistically looking indie game was announced big time during Sony's State of Play. The trailer showed artistic graphics with absurdist humor and gave the promise of a big world full of adventure. No one really saw Little Devil Inside coming, and it certainly caused a stir among journalists and gamers alike. So where did this game come from? Who are these developers? We didn't even know how the game would play. Everyone was excited though about this announcement from Sony and the completely unknown developer, Neostream Interactive. But let me tell you a secret. This wasn't even the announcement of the game. The game was already in development, not for 1 year, not even for 2 years, no. It was already in development since 2015. Let me explain. In 2015, a tiny South Korean developer called Neostream Interactive, then consisting of 3 men, set up a Kickstarter. With a modest pledge of $250,000, they wanted to develop their very first title, Little Devil Inside. It didn't take long to reach their goal, and they even overshot it with $50,000. People were very excited about this game when they saw it. Several alpha trailers were shown to backers as a reward of their generous donations. There were even pledge goals of $8,000. Like, what? Such a high amount. But anyway, where one would get shown in the in-game credits, among other things. With such amounts, one can only guess at how much money was donated to the studio for the promise of this adventure game. During the initial phase of development, the Kickstarter was updated almost monthly with different news about how development was going, and people were very excited to read about this. They also let us know on which platforms the game would be released on. The promise was made that Little Devil Inside would be released on Steam, PS4, Xbox, and the Wii U. Well, yeah, it was this long ago, people. I feel very old now. You know, the Wii U promise was later replaced to be, it will be released on Switch, because we all know that the Wii U wasn't a very big success. Let's just say it was a very big Nintendo flop. And it's actually very funny in retrospect, but the first release date would be in 2016, which is just laughable when you look back at it. They work with 3 men. They have a budget of $250,000, which is a very tiny budget in game development land. So yeah, they didn't make the release year of 2016. They started out with 3 people, and in 2017 they had 15 people working on it. It's it's a lot more, but it's still a very tiny team. So the release date of 2016 was postponed, and we just have to wait when the game will be released then. As I said before, during the initial phase of development, Neostream Interactive actually provided frequent updates about Little Devil Inside. They even gave us a peek behind the scenes with some interviews, which helps gaining trust with their fanbase through transparency. But after 2017, things started to change. There are basically no interviews to be found with Neostream Interactive after 2017. What's worse was the complete radio silence on all their platforms after 2020. There were no updates on their Kickstarter since June 2020. Their own webpage hasn't been updated since 2015, and their last YouTube video was also since 2020. The last Facebook update is also from that year, to apologize for the alleged racist appearance of certain enemies in the State of Play trailer.
You can engage with various people.
And then, in 2020, a trailer appeared in PlayStation Showcase, showing us some awesome new gameplay and just overall great vibes, making sure that, the game is still alive and Neostream Interactive was still working on it. Even more so that Sony was now behind this, with their big money and them being, the biggest gaming company out there right now. It made the hype only bigger and stronger. People were so excited about this game. Man, Little Devil was going to be so epic, and people just couldn't wait for a release date, or even a release window or a release year. When is going to be the next update? When we're going to see the release window? We didn't, because then the complete radio silence just began. On the timeline, the complete radio silence from Neostream Interactive does correspond eerily to the first State of Play trailer. Since the release of this trailer, lips have been firmly closed from the development team. And I don't mean a small amount of updates, there has been no information released at all and no interviews since then from both Neostream Interactive and Sony alike. You know, rumors even began to emerge on websites like Reddit that the South Korean developer just didn't release this game at all. You know, they were just scamming the heck out of us and Sony alike. There was also no word from Sony itself about the indie game. We can only speculate on the reasons for this. I think Sony invested a lot of money in the studio with the expectation that there will finally be an end date on the Little Devil Inside's development, and they just wanted Neostream to shut up about the development and just work on it. Anyway, that's just speculation. I cannot prove anything at all about this, but you know, that's just my 2 cents about it. And so in 2020 we didn't get any update on Little Devil Inside at all, and people were wondering what happened with the game. And then a sign of life in 2021. In 2021, Sony held a State of Play, you know, where they showed all their trailers of their upcoming games, both first party and indie games alike. And what do you know, against everyone's expectations, Little Devil just showed up in this State of Play. This trailer finally showed a bit more about the gameplay itself, rather than the more, you know, artistic showcase of the previous year. Although it was now beginning to look more like an actual game, fans and backers of the project did begin to worry about the skill of the game. You know, how big it was, you know, how big the world was and how big the scope of the development team was. Little seemed to be left of the promised open world in the alpha trailers at the beginning of 2015. This seems to have been replaced with small but artful scenarios. The player would have to move around the world map like, you know, those little Matryoshka dolls. This was not even in proportion to the earlier promises made to all contributors. In addition, even in this trailer, despite showing gameplay, it was still not clear what you would be doing at all in Little Devil Inside. Was it a puzzle game, a fighting game, a full-fledged RPG? How big would the world be? What is the story? Although fans of the mystery game were happy for the sign of life they got, some concerns surfaced. Tempers were calmed, however, with a simple year at the end of the video. Finally, a release window, 2022. So 2022 came and went without any update on Little Devil Inside at all. No updates, no trailers, nothing. Some rumors even began to emerge that Little Devil Inside will be released in the winter of 2022. But, you know, they were from an untrusted source, and, you know, since the game hasn't been released yet, it has been proven false. So, 2023. Complete radio silence. No updates, no trailers, nothing. And so, 2024 began. And as I began writing the script at the beginning of this year, I thought this video would end here. You know, Little Devil Inside hadn't been updated for 3 years yet and would most likely be a scam, as people were emailing and trying to, you know, contact Sony and Neostream Interactive about, you know, any updates at all. People have invested money and time in this project and they didn't get anything for 3 years, and, you know, that would just mean that there is no project at all. But, you know, they didn't get any replies from Neostream Interactive and Sony, which just furthered the rumor that this game just didn't exist, or it was more very early in development, or Neostream Interactive just didn't know what they were doing. You know, and I would end the script here. Wasn't it for the new trailer that released on February 21st in 2024? Now, I was totally taken aback by this, and it was 6 minutes of some beautiful, albeit pretty choppy gameplay. You know, this means the project must somehow still be alive. And, you know, even the Kickstarter page, which hadn't been updated since 2020, got an update on April 4th. After just 4 years of complete silence, an update called Despite It All, the same name as the trailer, We got a promise of a more frequent updates about the project, and they're telling us that the game will provide a holistic way of experimenting with weapons, meaning creating a weapon will be different than in other games, whichever that means. And it just didn't provide any explanation about the radio silence at all. It didn't acknowledge it. It just went like nothing happened before. We just got an update like it was 4 years ago. But it seems that Neostream Interactive is finally going to give us more information about the project itself. The name, despite it all, the title from the news updates and the YouTube video could suggest there were difficulties during the development. I cannot prove this, but it would explain the lack of updates and the lack of progress in the game development. We still don't have a release date or release year or any idea what the game is going to be. We're getting shown footage, but no explanation about gameplay mechanics or anything like that. So I still think that this game is going to be released by Neostream Interactive, and I think they're just having difficulties, creating the scope of this game. My theory is that this game got through development hell and they just restarted the game development completely. I think that Sony saw the project. I think they saw it was in shambles, or that they didn't get anywhere with this project, and they just said to Neostream Interactive, just start over with Little Devil Inside. Decrease the scope, rein in your ambitions and try to make a product that actually works. Sony invested all this money in this game developer and in this game, and they wanted to show some return of investment. Again, I cannot prove this, but in all my years playing games and being a bit involved in the game development world, I think this is highly likely that this has happened. And since we don't get any updates from Sony or any transparency from Neostream Interactive, we're still just, again, don't get any facts about this. Anyway, this is my update about Little Devil Inside.